Well, we're going to be building the Tennessean. This is the shell I'll be using, and the tender shell I'll be using also. And I've already took the skirts off the sides of this shell, and we'll be making new ones. So basically all we got to do is make new skirts for it, take the fin off the nose cone, and bring the top of this tender on back. Let's add some styrene in there, and then that's just painting decals. And I've got templates for the side skirts, so I should be a lot easier to make. I just take them on my folder and just cut out 2 side skirts and put them on. So it should be a pretty easy project. And then I got a chassis I'm going to use, this one. And I'll have to change out the rear trailing truck. I've got a couple of those. So this is some more parts I've got. If I build something out of that, picked up a nose cone, extra shell, and I got 4 or 5 extra shells and nose cones and parts and pieces. I just buy parts and pieces off eBay or wherever a lot, whenever I find them. So I'm going to be building a Tennessean. Alright, here we are. This is what we've got accomplished. I've got the side skirts cut out and glued into place on both sides. And then I changed out that rear trailing truck to a Pacific style. The fin, sanded it down, got rid of it, nice and smooth. Just take your time when you're doing this stuff. And then this headlight, it stuck out pretty far without the fin, so I had to bring it back in. I just sanded it down filed it down to where I wanted it. So, and I installed an LED headlight in this. That's what the wire's hanging out the back of the locomotive for. I gotta hook them up still. So it was easier. I had to put the weight back in, put the LED headlight in, the weight. I had to glue this. I glued the nose cone in, so I glued the side skirts to it. So there's really no need to ever take the nose cone off unless you want to change out the LED light. Hopefully it won't ever go bad. So, and then the tender shell, we added styrene back here. It's kind of curved like the top of the tender is on both sides. Filed it down, got it to the right side, the right shape. So now we just gotta primer everything. I'll probably take some take these decals off, this lettering off here maybe. Well, usually how I do that is just take a little bit of the decal remover. This is this one here I use on a Q-tip, and just wipe it on there, and then take a pencil eraser, just off a pencil, and rub it until it starts coming off. It did come off pretty easy. It's usually how you get your old decals and stuff off. So, and then we'll probably remove that one off the front of there. Same way. And then I'll wash it real good with warm soapy water, let dry, and then primer it, and then start painting. So I think the locomotive just gets the one color, and then what is it? I'm not sure. I'll have to look up my colors. But and then the shell gets the color, gets like the white diagonal part of it's white or something. I'll have to look up my colors. I can't remember the names of them. But we'll get it washed off and get it primered now. Alright, we got all the lettering and old decals off. So we just use I use this stuff here Works real good. Honestly, I think it's just vinegar. That's what it smells like. But just put it on there. Put you on the Q-tip there. Just put you a light coat over it and let it sit for a little bit. I don't know, about a minute or so. And then put another coat over it and start using your pencil eraser. And let's use them off these old pencils. See, that old brand new eraser when I started is pretty much gone now. So keep it wet as you're trying to erase that decal off. So makes it easier. Well, they come off pretty easy once you get them soaked there for a minute or so. No big deal. That little New York Central badge is all the way off there. So I've tried stripping the paint on these River Rossi steam locomotives, and it won't strip with 91% alcohol. All of them sit for a couple of days and it doesn't do a thing to them. So I think they use like a lacquer paint or something. The lacquer thinner will take it off, but you don't want to use it. It'll make just paint over the existing paint if you ever repaint River Rossi, because you won't get that off real easy. So you just give it a good cleaning. So what I'm gonna do now is go take the shell off, take this, and then go in and use warm water and a little bit of soap, and use my toothbrush and stuff and scrub it really good, and then rinse it off real good with warm water, and just let it dry. And when it's dry, you can primer it. So, alright, here's the Tennessean. We got it all primered. The tender shell, all primered, and the locomotive shell. Got a little piece of tape inside the headlight there to keep the paint from getting inside the headlight. So now we'll start painting it. Alright, there's the base coat. First color. Got it all painted. Tender painted. Alright, here, Tennessean's painted with the base colors, green. Now all that's left to do is let this dry overnight, and then I'll tape it off. And it gets like a diagonal somewhere here. Half tender to be white. And it's got a white stripe that comes up that'll match up to this white stripe that goes up this skirt. And then that should be about it for the painting. Except for maybe, I think the rings that go around the headlight, I'll hand paint those on after I get the white on. So that's about the easiest way to do that. I got a real small brush that I use for that. I'll show you. So you can see the tip of that thing. It's for painting fingernails. It's like a very small pinstripe brush. It works great. And then I got one that's just a little bit bigger than this. They work great. They're supposedly for painting fingernails. I ordered a whole pack of them. There's a bunch of different kinds of brushes that came in there, which are real useful in painting these locomotives and models or whatever. You can run little lines with these. Makes it nice. So, well, like I said, we'll let it dry all night, then paint the white. And now we got it all taped off, paint the white. I'm going to paint the white stripe here first, and then I remove the tape, then tape it off for to give this diagonal line, and this paint it white back here. So what I did was put the shells back on the chassis so I can get the lines to line up with the the locomotive shell and tender shell. So they're pretty close lined up. So we'll put them back on the chassis so I can get the correct line up for the white stripe there. Like I said, I'll paint this here gets white, and here I'll go ahead and tape this little bit of the line off, paint back to here somewhere on each side, and then remove the tape, and then do the diagonal line and tape off the rest of it, and then paint the rest of it white. So alright, here it is, all painted. Even got a clear coat over it, so it's ready for decaling. I had to hand paint those circles around there, those yellow circles. There's the other side, the tender, it's all done. Got the coal painted black and everything else all painted. The rear of it, there, front side of the tender. So, there it is. And then there's my chassis. So, and then all we gotta do is decal it. So we'll get started on that now. Alright, here's the Tennessean. It's all decaled with a clear coat over the decals. The tender is all back together. Cleaned the wheels and the contacts and all that. Front handrails. There won't be no rear handrails on this. I just didn't put them on because when I added this, the original ones loop and go into the rear. Now they can't, so there's no sense of putting them on. Put the ladder back on. Made a lens for that with this stuff, and also a lens for the front of the locomotive where the light is out of this. It's still drying. So the tender is done, and the locomotive just needs to put back together. I got the shells loose. So on the locomotive, get the yellow pinstripes. I run down to the curve, and then where the yellow is on the curve, I had to hand paint it on both sides. And then we had to paint these cylinders to match the locomotive, and then put decal in there along with the other side. And then the front, it's got a silver stripe, 2 silver stripes at the bottom, and then southern decal there, and those yellow circles are hand painted. So all these decals came from one kit except for the silver ones. They all are micro scale set that I found. And the silver stripes is a set I had. I use the silver a lot, so I got a lot of silver stripes still. But all that's left to do now is to put the rails on here, and those rails will just be the same style rails that are off the regular Hudson, streamlined Hudson, and then hand grabs on the back of the cab on each side. And then I have to hook up the wires for the LED headlight, and I think that's about it. And then it should be ready to run. Alright, we got it all back together. Chassis in, railings are on, everything's hooked up. Should be ready for running. I'll take a look at it here. The ladder back on, and there's a railing up in here. Got that back in. So, and then the locomotive, we got the railings on the back, on the side of the locomotive. Chassis all clean and oiled back up. really wasn't even that dirty. So I think it turned out pretty good. Not too much custom work done to it. Just new skirts. The fin took off the nose, and then some extensions added to the back of the tender. So let's go run it, see if it runs pretty good. Alright, we got it on the tracks. Let's see what it does. Alright. Coming around. Oh yeah. Alright, here's the last look at this Tennessean. Started life as a River Aussie Streamline Hudson. Should I say just a bunch of parts. We took the fin off of it and put new skirts on it. And then originally it would have been one of these tenders, but we switched it to one of these Hudson tenders and used that for this locomotive. So not too much custom work, pretty simple, nothing too major, and it seemed to run pretty good. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this video of the Tennessean that I just built from a bunch of River Aussie parts. And I still have a bunch of River Aussie parts over there in the drawers. So I'm going to be building some more locomotives with those. Not sure which one I'm going to build next. So just stay tuned and please like and subscribe. Thanks.